Welcome to the Cultivation Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Hamill, and this is episode 5, season 4, where we are unpacking and actually giving bonus material from my upcoming book, The Life You're Meant to Lead, right? And so this is all the material you can't find in the book because I couldn't fit it all in there, and today is all about learning people skills. So let's get into it. We focus so much on education, right? We make sure our kids go to school. We make sure that, we're trying to get a college education, and there's always this fight and an argument about tuition and how expensive it gets. And all of this energy on learning and growing, many times we miss the most important education out of all of them: people skills. Learning people. Learning how to read people, learning how to understand people, learning how to communicate to people, learning how to work with people. All of these kinds of skills is the most important ingredient to get us ahead or get us moving forward, no matter what field we pursue or work in or live in. It doesn't matter. We have to learn the art of people skills. And when we learn the art of people skills, let me just tell you straight up what I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about manipulating people. I'm not talking about selling people a bill of goods. I'm not talking about any of those things. I'm talking about the psychology, the art, the skill of being able to listen, learn, read, and work with people. You know that as a human race, we are probably the most fascinating, intricate, and complicated creature on the planet. We don't even know who we are, let alone trying to know who another person is. I will tell you, this is a funny story, and she knows I talk about her all the time because we talk about her all the time. My amazing wife, Jamie, she is probably one of the most difficult people to buy a gift for. And here's why. Not that she doesn't like anything. It's not that she has a poor taste or bad taste. It's not any of those things. It's that she doesn't even know what she wants. And oftentimes she is like the queen of returning something. Oh, I'm going to buy this rug and see if I like it. And she wants to see it all laid out and in the space or place that she wants to put it. And then she goes, I don't think I like that rug. And so she rolls it back up and takes it back to the store or something like that. I'm thinking, if you don't know what you want, how am I supposed to know what you want? But I've realized the greatest tool I have as a husband, as Jamie's husband, is to learn her. And not only is that true in my marriage, not only is that true in your marriage, but it's true in every level or nature or kind of relationship that you're in. Whether, again, it's a boss-employee relationship, whether it's a neighbor relationship, whether it's a parent relationship or a spouse or boyfriend-girlfriend romantic relationship, whatever it is, the greatest tool you have, the greatest asset, the greatest resource you have isn't all your book knowledge, and I got lots of books. I've read lots of books. It's not all your degrees on the wall, and I've got those degrees on the wall, and those are important, and I'm not here to negate or in some way diminish those. I'm just saying, let's not neglect the greatest education we need out of all of them, and it's learning people, because we got to work with people. In fact, I would tell you this. We're going to do an episode here this season called Finding Your Tribe, that without people, we really can't get anywhere in life. I need people in order to fulfill my purpose. You need people in order to fulfill your purpose. And until we learn the skill of working with and learning people, we'll never be able to fully leverage or maximize our potential or our purpose. And so we've got to place a huge amount of value and resource. One of my favorite things to do is to go to a mall or a coffee shop or some place where I can sit and just people watch. Why? Because I find people very fascinating. So I thought, if we're going to talk about people, let's talk about people, and there's no one better to talk about than myself. Why? Because I know I'm not going to get offended all the things I'm going to say. There's a lot of things about me that until you get to know me will never fit inside the box of who people think I am or suspect I am or project me to be because I don't fit the mold of some of the truths about me. So what are those? And again, this is all in the line of learning people skills, learning how to read people, know people, understand people. So currently, I live in Orange County, California. It's kind of an affluent area. It's a really nice place to live. It's an expensive place to live, but we do live right next to the Pacific Ocean, and I kind of think I owe it to humanity to look at the Pacific Ocean as often as possible because maybe 1% of the globe gets to see the Pacific Ocean, and I sometimes can smell it in the air depending on which way the wind is blowing, right? But to just think of me as a guy from the OC would give you a stereotype of who I am, except for that I don't fit the mold of just somebody who lives in the OC. Part of it is I didn't grow up in Orange County, California. I came from other places and I've lived in other places. And if you caught the final episode of season 3's podcast, I did an interview. You know that I've lived in Northern California in the Central Valley. I lived in Louisiana. I've lived in all kinds of places. I spent a short amount of time living in Florida. That's a whole nother story that we're not going to get in today. But here is this, early 40s. I'm 41 at the time of this recording of this episode. And I've lived in Orange County for the last 8 years. But I grew up in the Central Valley, very diverse, very, very urban kind of area. So I love rap music. I love gangster rap music, to be specific, which, to look at me, I mean, there's nothing about this right here if you're on YouTube watching this. And if you're not, you should, because you'll understand I don't fit that mold or I don't look that part. I'm a nerdy guy with glasses. I'm into tech and computers and all that kind of stuff. And you would never point me out in a crowd and go, there's a guy that likes some gangster rap music. But I really do, as ridiculous as that sounds. And I tricked out my car with a bumping stereo system and LED lights that go off like we're at the club and all kinds of things because I just like that vibe. I like to chill with that stuff. But until you learn the art of people skills and take the time to learn people, you would never know that or assume that about me. It only comes that information. Now, I'm giving you that information for free, by the way, just to give you a chuckle while you're driving in your truck or car or whatever the case is. But you would never discover that about me on your own or by looking at the external stereotype of the perception of me. It's only when you get the people skills to learn people, to listen to those nuances, and to kind of ask a few more questions. And we're about to do a whole episode just on the art of asking questions and the value of asking questions. It's going to be super great. I'm really looking forward to it. But we've got to learn the people skill art. Why is this so important that we learn the people skill art? I'll tell you why. Number one reason. This is not just true of you, so don't get offended with what I'm about to say. This is true of our DNA, of the human race, is that our brains are lazy. I know you might be thinking, scratching your head going, what are you talking about? Believe it or not, our brains do not like to think. I know you're going, that's all our brains do is think. Not really, because until I mention it, when was the last time you thought about breathing? When was the last time you thought about blinking? When was the last time you thought about that heartbeat beating? You don't think about those things because our brain is built literally for automation. Our brains are super efficient at jumping to conclusions. Why does our brain jump to conclusions? Because it's lazy and doesn't want to think for itself. It's like, well, if that's true, then I'm going to just assume and jump to this conclusion that the next thing is true. And so because our brains get lazy, we jump to assumptions, we jump to stereotypes, we jump to prejudices. And listen, if prejudices is a word, I'm not sure. But when we take the time to learn people skills, what we do is we stop jumping to assumptions and take a little bit of time to learn someone and to learn the things and the nuances about that person. I'm going to talk a lot more about this when it comes to asking questions and why we do that. But listening and learning prevents us from jumping to assumptions. And that's when we unlock the potential of of the value of people and the value of relationships and how we're connected and how we need each other in order to get to the purpose and the destiny and identity that we're striving for on this cultivated journey. But again, we have to remind ourselves, this is not a critique, this is not criticism, but we have to remind ourselves every day, my brain's desire is to be lazy. My brain's desire is to not think for myself. So I'm going to have to force my brain or retrain my brain or cause my brain to submit to, nope, you're going to be listening, you're going to be learning, you're going to be watching for places where you can learn someone, you can learn something about them so that you can grow from that or help them to grow, right? Because the bottom line is this: when we learn people skills, we find ways to make other people successful. And that is where we bring meaning to one another. When I am helping somebody else be successful, not based off of what I think success is, not based off of what I think their potential is or what they should be doing with their life, but when I've learned them enough, I've got the people skills, or at least for that person there, when I've got those skills, I've watched them, I've learned them, I've listened to them, right? Now I can help be a catalyst for their success. And let me just tell you this real quick. If you can write this down or highlight it or whatever the case is, if you're watching on YouTube, that might be difficult. If you're driving right now, don't do anything. Just pay attention to traffic. But causing people to win is the only way. I'm checking my notes right now. For all of us to win, right? Causing other people to win is the only way for us to win. I've never lost at causing someone else to be successful. The moment I cause somebody else to be successful, the moment I give somebody else the credit, it always comes back to me as a win. I know that we live in a day and age where it's like, get what you can, get mines, right? Get all I got because no one else is going to look out for me. It's a dog-eat-dog world, right? I get that. But when we take the time to learn people skills and we cause someone else to win, what we gain in return is loyalty. What we gain in return is a friendship. What we gain in return is value back. And it never causes us to lose when we cause someone else to win. That is a misconception. That is birthed out of fear. That is birthed out of insecurities. And when it comes to living the cultivated life, when it comes to living the cultivated journey, this is about overcoming those obstacles. This is about overcoming those insecurities and becoming the identity, the person that we want to be. And that person causes other people to win. And when we cause other people to win because we've learned the skills, we've learned to listen to them and hear their heart and hear their passion and find the giftings and find the strengths that are within them because we've got the people skills to work with them and to ask the right questions and not jump to assumptions, right? All of these are people skills. We've got to take time. Unfortunately, there's no shortcut to this. Unfortunately, there's no manual to this. Most people aren't having this conversation. I mean, I understand, like, if you wanted to become a secret agent, CIA agent, and being a human lie detector, all that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about how to watch, listen, and learn people so that you can cause them to win, sets you up for success, and causes you to become the person that you really want to become, making a difference in this world. There's a lot of education. Listen, I wrote a book, so I hope I'm talking to an audience of readers because I'd love for you to buy my book, right? The Life You're Meant to Lead. It's coming out. Did I mention that yet, right? I'm a little excited about it, a little freaked out, right? A little nervous, but man, can't wait for this thing to get into the hands of people because I think it'll be a powerful tool. All of that comes from this idea of we've got to educate ourselves in people, not just book knowledge, not just school knowledge, right? Not just those things. Those are important, but we've got to get the people knowledge, the people skills, so that we can set others up to win. Hey, I'm so glad that you joined us today. I'd love for you to go check out our website, ourcultivatedlives.com. You're going to get more information about the book. You can also find places where you can follow us and connect with us. We'd love to hear your story on our social media feeds, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, soon to be on Pinterest, all of those kinds of places so that we can journey together, we can communicate together, we read those things, we respond to them as we are together living the cultivated journey. Thanks for checking us out today. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on all the incredible content we have coming out. Also, we'd love to hear from you in the comment section. We read those, we respond to those as we journey together in the cultivated life.